What if I told you something from another star system is slipping through our solar system right now, and no one really knows what it is? It's not an asteroid, it's not a comet, and according to some scientists, it might not be natural at all. They're calling it 3I Atlas, only the third confirmed interstellar object ever detected. But here's the twist. This one is behaving in ways that have astronomers questioning everything they thought they understood about the universe. It's accelerating when it shouldn't. It's brightening faster than physics can explain, and soon it'll vanish behind the sun, completely hidden from human observation. Whatever happens during that time, we won't see it. Some experts believe it's just an exotic space rock with unusual chemistry. Others think it could be the first piece of technology sent from another civilization, a probe quietly studying us from the darkness. Tonight, we're diving into what makes this cosmic visitor unlike anything we've ever seen, the eerie coincidences surrounding its path, and why this moment could change how humanity sees the universe forever. So before this mysterious traveller disappears behind the sun, let's uncover what scientists have found and what they're still afraid to say out loud. It all started quietly on a clear July night in 2025. Astronomers with the Atlas survey in Hawaii picked up a faint moving object crossing their images. Nothing unusual at first. They logged it, compared positions, and expected it to be just another long-period comet making its icy swing around the sun. But when they ran the orbital data, something didn't add up. The numbers showed a trajectory so steep, so open-ended it couldn't have come from our solar system at all. This object, later designated 3I Atlas, was travelling on what scientists call a hyperbolic path. That's a fancy way of saying it's not bound by the sun's gravity. It came from deep interstellar space, and once it leaves, it's gone forever. No orbit, no return, no second chances. It's only the third confirmed interstellar visitor humanity has ever seen, following Oumuamua in 2017 and Borisov in 2019. But unlike its predecessors, this one didn't just pass quietly by. It arrived with questions that still don't have answers. At first, its brightness seemed modest, just a dim speck in the telescope data, but its speed was staggering, cutting through space at over 60 kilometers per second. The trajectory suggested it had wandered between stars for millions of years before stumbling into our cosmic backyard. Scientists around the world quickly redirected their instruments toward it, eager to catch a glimpse before it slipped away. And that's when things began to get strange. Its glow flickered in unpredictable bursts, almost as if something inside was waking up. Early analyses showed that its composition didn't quite match typical comets. It wasn't behaving the way it should. Whatever 3I Atlas was, it didn't fit into any familiar category. Most comets from our solar system follow neat elliptical orbits born from the same cloud of dust and gas that created Earth. But this one, it came from somewhere else entirely, carrying secrets from a distant star system we've never seen. And as telescopes zoomed in, astronomers realized they might be witnessing something historic and interstellar messenger, unlike any that had come before. But what they saw next would leave them questioning whether this visitor was just drifting through, or deliberately passing by. From the moment scientists began studying 3I Atlas in detail, it refused to play by the rules. Unlike ordinary comets, which slowly warm up and release predictable streams of gas and dust as they approach the sun, this object seemed to operate on its own schedule. Some nights it flared so suddenly that astronomers thought their instruments were malfunctioning. Then, just as quickly, it would dim again, like a light switching on and off somewhere in the void. Normally, a comet's brightness tells us about its activity, how much ice is evaporating, how thick its coma, the glowing halo of gas, has become. But Atlas didn't follow the math. Its light curve didn't rise smoothly. It spiked and dropped in patterns that made no physical sense. Researchers compared the data with other interstellar objects, including Oumuamua and Borisov. But even those strange visitors had behaved more predictably. This one was wild, almost erratic, as if driven by something beyond simple chemistry. Spectral readings deepened the mystery. The reflected light hinted at materials we'd never seen in such combinations, rich in complex carbon compounds, but lacking the typical signatures of water ice that make comets shine. That suggested one of two possibilities. Either this was an incredibly dry ancient object that had survived countless eons between the stars, or it wasn't a comet at all. Some astronomers speculated that 3I Atlas might be the shattered fragment of a larger interstellar body, torn apart long before it reached us. Others began to wonder if it could be something even stranger, an artificial relic drifting through space. Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb, who had famously suggested that Oumuamua might be technological in origin, raised eyebrows again when he noted that 3I Atlas's acceleration didn't fully align with natural outgassing models. He didn't say it was alien technology, but he made one thing clear. We shouldn't rule anything out. As the object sped toward its closest approach to the Sun, its behavior only grew more unpredictable. One night, telescopes recorded a sudden surge in brightness, thousands of times more intense than expected. The comet expanded dramatically, as if something deep within had just been activated. Scientists tried to explain it as a volatile chemical reaction, but the numbers didn't fit. The rate of expansion was too extreme, the energy release too focused. Whatever was driving through Atlas, it wasn't random. It seemed to react with precision, responding to solar energy in ways no known comet ever had. And that raised a chilling new question. Was this just a piece of rock and ice, or was it something built with a purpose? But the real shock came when the data revealed a phenomenon so unusual that even veteran astronomers couldn't agree on what they were seeing. At first, researchers thought the strange fluctuations in 3 Atlas's brightness might be caused by tumbling a natural spin that could make sunlight reflect unevenly. But that theory didn't last long. As higher resolution data rolled in, something about those light patterns defied every conventional explanation. Instead of random flickers, the illumination seemed focused, consistent, almost directional. It was as if the object was projecting light forward, not merely reflecting it. Astronomers at observatories from Chile to Hawaii started comparing notes, and one detail kept surfacing. The signal wasn't spreading out like the diffuse glow typical of a comet. It was narrow, coherent, more like a beam than a reflection. No known natural process produces that kind of focused light in open space. Even more curious, the beam held steady for hours, pointing along the object's trajectory like a headlight guiding the way. This discovery sent shockwaves through the scientific community. A few researchers proposed exotic natural causes, a concentration of reflective crystals maybe, or a jet of gas shaped just right to channel sunlight into a tight column. But those explanations fell apart under closer scrutiny. The required precision, the sustained directionality, and the intensity of the light made the phenomenon virtually impossible to explain with simple physics. Then came another clue. The object's path wasn't following pure gravitational motion. Normally, comets experience small nudges caused by jets of gas pushing them slightly off course. But Atlas's deviations were different, steady, regular, and oddly precise. Instead of random bursts, it looked like controlled corrections, as if the object were fine-tuning its own route. That's when Avi Loeb stepped in again. He pointed out that the same unexplained accelerations had been seen in Oumuamua years earlier, sparking speculation that it might have been a solar sail probe from another civilization. Could 3I Atlas be a sequel? Another piece of technology quietly moving through our solar system? Mainstream astronomers stayed cautious. Officially, there was no evidence of alien engineering, just anomalies science couldn't yet explain. But behind the scenes, conversations grew tense. The data looked too precise to ignore, and the object's speed and timing were eerily calculated. It wasn't just visiting the inner solar system, it was cutting straight through it, on a course so exact that the odds of coincidence were astronomically small. Still, the strangest part was yet to come. Thrus Atlas was moving toward a point in its journey that would take it directly behind the Sun, a region of space completely hidden from Earth's telescopes. And during that period of darkness, anything could happen. As 3 Atlas raced closer to the Sun, excitement across the scientific world turned into uneasy anticipation. By late October, the object would reach its closest approach, its perihelion swinging just inside Mercury's orbit before disappearing behind the Sun. For weeks, it would be completely invisible to every telescope on Earth. Astronomers call this moment superior conjunction, when an object passes directly behind the Sun from our point of view. Normally that's just an observational inconvenience. This time it felt like a plot twist. You see, 3i Atlas wasn't just any comet making a routine flyby. It was an interstellar visitor with unexplained behavior, erratic flares, and a trajectory that didn't fully make sense. Now, at the very moment it would experience the most intense solar radiation and gravitational stress of its entire journey, it would slip into total darkness, beyond the reach of every instrument we have. No satellites, no observatories, nothing. For several critical weeks, the universe would turn its cameras off. The timing couldn't be worse or more suspicious, depending on who you ask. Because if this object were truly artificial, this hidden window would be the perfect opportunity to make a move, to change direction, to slow down, to do something no one could witness. And when it reappeared on the other side of the Sun, we'd only see the aftermath. Scientists tried to play it cool, calling it an unfortunate coincidence. But some couldn't shake the feeling that the coincidence was too perfect. Dr. Alan Fitzsimmons from Queen's University Belfast even admitted that this blind spot made it impossible to know what the object might do during its most critical phase. Others echoed his concern. How do you study something that literally vanishes at the exact moment you need to see it most? And it wasn't just the timing that felt strange. The object's path suggested that during its closest pass, it could use the Sun's immense gravity as a slingshot maneuver spacecraft used to alter their speed or direction without expending fuel. That's basic orbital mechanics. But for a natural object, such precision is rare. For an artificial one, it would be strategic. So when 3i Atlas slipped behind the solar glare, a chill ran through the astronomical community. Because for the first time since its discovery, humanity had no idea where it was, what it was doing, or whether it would come out the same way it went in. Whatever happened in that blinding shadow of the Sun would determine everything we'd learn or never learn about this mysterious visitor. And when it finally re-emerged, the world would be watching. When 3i Atlas finally reappeared from behind the Sun, every observatory on Earth was waiting. Telescopes, satellites, even amateur astronomers with backyard rigs, all locked onto the coordinates where it was supposed to emerge. But when it did, nothing lined up the way it should have. The object wasn't where the models predicted. It was off course by millions of kilometers. At first, the explanation seemed simple. The extreme solar heat must have caused a violent outgassing event, pushing it slightly off trajectory. But the more the data came in, the harder that theory became to defend. The shift wasn't random. It was clean, deliberate, and geometrically precise. It looked less like an explosion and more like a maneuver. Even stranger, its velocity had changed. Before disappearing, 3i Atlas was moving at roughly 60 kilometers per second. When it came back into view, it was travelling faster, as if something had given it an extra boost right around the Sun. No known natural process could explain that kind of acceleration at that distance. The only energy source capable of such precision was the Sun itself, and somehow the object had used it perfectly. Then came the light readings. Observatories reported that its surface signature had changed dramatically. Before, the reflected spectrum was erratic and faint, dominated by carbon compounds. Now, it showed a distinct metallic reflection, smooth, uniform, almost like polished alloy. Whatever 3i Atlas was before it vanished behind the Sun, it didn't come out the same. Some scientists quietly suggested the possibility of fragmentation, that the original body had broken apart, leaving behind a denser core. Others disagreed. The new object was too cohesive, too symmetrical. Its rotation rate had evened out. Its light didn't flicker anymore. Instead, it pulsed steadily, rhythmically, like a beacon. The pattern wasn't random, it repeated every 47 seconds. Publicly, space agencies said the pulses were likely thermal variations caused by spinning debris, but private research groups disagreed. The intervals were too consistent, too precise to be coincidental. Independent observers from Japan and South Africa confirmed the same data. A repeating signal, faint but stable, flashing across the darkness every 47 seconds on the dot. Within days, social media lit up with speculation. Was it a message? A malfunction? A warning? NASA and the European Space Agency stayed silent, offering no updates beyond a bland statement that they were monitoring ongoing observations. But Avi Loeb was blunt. In an interview he said, "If nature is repeating something with this level of precision, we need to ask if it's nature at all." And as 3i Atlas accelerated toward the edge of the solar system, heading back into interstellar space one thing became clear. It had left more questions than answers. Whatever had passed through our skies wasn't just another rock. It might have been a messenger, or a probe, or something we were never meant to understand, because before it faded completely the signal changed just once. And that final pulse wasn't 47 seconds apart. It was exactly 1 minute long. For days after the last recorded pulse, 3i Atlas continued its silent departure into the black. The object was now moving so fast and so far that even our most powerful telescopes could barely detect it. But just when astronomers thought the story was over, a deep space array in Australia picked up something unusual, a faint repeating radio frequency coming from the exact region where 3i Atlas should have been. It wasn't strong enough to be a broadcast, but it wasn't random noise either. The signal carried a pattern, a narrow band frequency oscillating in perfect intervals, almost like a heartbeat. At first, the team assumed it was interference from a satellite. Then they realized the signal was red-shifting, stretching in wavelength, exactly in line with the object's escape velocity. It wasn't local interference. It was coming from deep space. Word spread fast. SETI researchers scrambled to verify the data. Within 48 hours, similar detections came in from observatories in Spain, Chile, and Japan. Each recorded the same faint pulse, separated by precisely 60 seconds, the same interval as the final light pattern before 3i Atlas vanished from optical view. But there was something even more chilling. The frequency wasn't fixed. Embedded within the signal were subtle fluctuations, tiny variations that, when converted into audio, produced an unmistakable sequence, a repeating series of 5 tones. Not random static, not background radiation. 5 distinct notes, echoing through the void every minute as the object drifted away from the sun. NASA issued a statement downplaying the event, calling it an anomaly likely caused by solar interference. Yet behind closed doors, teams quietly began decoding the pattern. The tones followed a mathematical ratio 1 that mirrored the same proportions found in the hydrogen spectral line, the universal frequency often used by scientists to indicate intelligent origin. Avi Loeb once again made headlines. "If we are detecting structured signals from an interstellar object," he said, "it means someone or something intended for it to be heard." He went on to suggest that 3i Atlas might not have been travelling at all, but scanning a probe passing through star systems, listening, recording, and maybe, just maybe, communicating. After 3 days, the signal stopped. No fade-out, no interference, just silence. 3 Atlas was gone, racing back into the darkness between the stars. Months later, some amateur astronomers claimed to have detected faint echoes of that same 5-tone sequence, buried in background cosmic noise. No official observatory confirmed it, but the rumour spread like wildfire. The pattern even made its way into online music and conspiracy videos, the Song of Atlas, as it came to be called. And maybe that's all it was, a coincidence, a trick of data and human imagination. But for many who had followed the story from the beginning, one unsettling thought remained. If 3 Atlas really was a messenger, then it wasn't just passing by. It was announcing that we had finally been seen. The story of 3i Atlas is far from over. It's simply beyond our reach. As it drifts deeper into interstellar space, shrinking into the darkness, humanity is left with more mystery than proof. Was it a natural traveller shaped by eons of cosmic forces? Or was it something engineered, an ancient probe, a fragment of a forgotten civilization, or even a form of technology we can't yet recognize? Every piece of data we gathered still leaves gaps wide enough to drive galaxies through. The strange light pulses, the impossible trajectory adjustments, the radio tones that match no known interference, each one adds a new layer of uncertainty. And yet, that uncertainty might be the most profound part of it all. Because 3i Atlas reminds us how little we truly know about what moves between the stars. Avi Loeb once said that science should be driven by curiosity, not comfort. And this interstellar visitor embodied that challenge. It asked questions that science wasn't ready to answer, dared researchers to look beyond familiar explanations, and forced us to admit that some discoveries arrive without warning, without context, and without a clear ending. Even now, somewhere out there, 3i Atlas is still moving. Silent, steady, and untraceable. It may drift for millions of years before crossing paths with another star system, carrying with it traces of our sun, our curiosity, and maybe even our reflection in its metallic skin. Perhaps it was just a comet, strange but natural. Or perhaps it was something else entirely. Something that saw us, measured us, and then quietly continued on its way. Either way, one truth remains. For the first time in history, we watched an object from another star pass through our home. And for a fleeting moment it made us wonder, not just what's out there, but who might be watching back.